fans, welcome back to this week's edition of the Steel Show. Tough game this week, right? Losing at home on homecoming to Carrol is always difficult. Feel like it's a game that we control for the most part. So I'll let you just kind of jump right into it and talk about the emotions of that game and your thoughts on the game and kind of why it slipped away from you at the end, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line every week in the Frontier Conference, and we'll mention that a number of times, and it won't change this week. But Carrol College is a good football team, but we felt like it was a very winnable game and felt like we were really, really playing well and taking it to them defensively especially. But did some good things, went right down and scored. And then struggled a little bit in the middle there, offense-wise, but then got a drive going. End of the first half, didn't quite get it in, but then got a big punt return, got the ball right back and made a big score. Then got the ball the second half and drove it right down. So we're 21-7. Defense is playing well. Offense is moving the ball, and very, very tough physical game. Carroll's a very, very good defensive program, and emerging on the offensive side. And
they play that brand of football.
Yes, absolutely. So we're very similar in that sense, and different enough, and apples and oranges, but similar in that sense that we want to be physical and play good, solid defense and find a variety of ways to move the football. So we were hitting on most cylinders, and we just let some things slip away. We fumbled in the red zone. We missed a field goal again. We missed a couple fourth downs. So that continues. That's ongoing, and we're working hard at it. And we feel like we had a great plan, and it just didn't work out. Our kicking situation, we're going to have to figure that out at some point, because that is helpful. Maybe I should have gone for a field goal, but it hurts so bad to line up for a field goal and then miss. But our guys try, and whether it's Stan or Cameron, they want to make it. They work hard. They've had good weeks of practice, and our protection and batteries all good. But anyway, fast forward to the end of the game, we just I felt like it was just slipping away a little bit, and then finally they made I got 6 sacks in the game, and we needed one more is what we needed in a critical situation. So they made a couple incredible plays. That's why I said to the team, felt like they caught maybe not one, but even a couple of Hail Marys, and I've never been on the losing end of a Hail Mary game, but I know it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And so kind of felt like that, but looking at the film, reviewing the film, again felt like we can be absolutely lights out on defense. We really can. We can shut people down, and for one reason or another, it didn't happen on a couple of critical plays, and it allowed them to not only get back in the game, but then finally drive the ball and make another big play and win the game. So that was disappointing, especially since we got a big break. They muffed a punt, and we're up 21-14, and feel like, boy, we score here. So that's football, though.
Yeah.
In the Frontier Conference, sometimes the game, and have talked to the team a lot about this, all that in the game hinges on 2 plays, and you don't know when those 2 plays are going to show up. And so it's but that's the beauty and the agony of competitive college football, and I love where we are. I love our team and the way they've responded. Our great lift yesterday, great practice this morning, and so the guys understand. They're serious about it. They want to be more serious and be better. The coaching staff is working harder than ever, and we relish the challenge and feel like that's the way you have to approach things. So I like that. There's decisions to make. There's all sorts of things going on, and throw in the real life on top of that, and it's a full life for these college football players. That they got a lot going on, not just academics and football, but as Broch, and life goes on. Have guys, their moms are very, very sick. That's troubling to the team, but I think that's where we rally, and we rally as human beings, we rally as college students, we rally as football players, and that's what's special about football, in my opinion. That's what creates, and I've been happy to have the pleasure to be involved with these guys, and it's what going to make them great people, just like yourself, Broch. But it's relishing the challenge, I think, is really, really important.
Yeah, I was just going to say, talk about a little bit about, the opportunity here and what it means for a team, or especially a college football team of young men, to have an opportunity to handle adversity, right? And how you respond to that in a tough season. I think back to, my senior year, for example, 2017, tough start, right? 1-4, but I was really proud of that team we didn't give in an inch, and we played our best football the second half of the year. So talk about what you'd like to see as far as just responding to adversity that you're facing right now.
Well, I think that's a cultural thing. I mean, no one. I'm not trying to wish adversity on the team.
Yeah, you don't want to be 3-2
to build character.
Yeah.
And but you take it as it comes. Yeah. And there's good teams. You're not going to win them all in most years. And even in our playoff year in 2019, you're just keep running into better and better people, and you run into people every week that are very, very good. So I just think that's a great way to approach life, is to view adversity and anything else related in that realm as another challenge that we have to overcome as a group. Individually, guys will have to overcome that. I have to overcome, different things. So again, and then you're all in it together. Again, I believe I never, ever, ever point the finger at the players.
Yeah.
And I just think, but I do want them to own their responsibility.
Yeah.
Just like I have to own my responsibility. So I like to say that we're all in it together.
Yeah.
And we have to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
So it gives them some skin in the game, so to speak.
Yeah, because players got to play, coaches got to coach.
And all the coaches have to have skin in the game, and we're all in it together. And that's what we've built this program on. I think that's what you felt and contributed to in your years. And I have supreme confidence in this team. There's not even a flicker of
doubt,
dissent, or bad attitude, or
that's great.
Why do we got to practice? It's just we don't even deal with that. Maybe there was a handful of guys in the program's time, but those guys weed themselves out, and we recruit great people and great students and great players, and so again, it's a fun challenge. There's no guarantees that it'll be like 2017 or the end of 2018 or the end of 2019. But having said that, great to see those alums out there on Saturday, and so felt horrendous for them, because I wanted to see them celebrating on the field, because they believe, like they believe that they built this program, they built the foundation of the program, and they are so proud of the guys in the program right now, and they just wanted them to win and feel that celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned earlier just playing in the Frontier Conference, and I've always known about how tough this league is with my oldest brother playing at Carrol, and it was tough then, and it's even tougher now with the additions of Southern and Eastern and C of I. So, this is the 7th season or 8th season of games?
7th or 8th,
yeah. So you've had obviously a huge sample size and a lot of experience. Talk about how tough it really is week in and week out playing in the Frontier.
Well, this year especially, because even Northern has given people trouble. They haven't won a game in 3 years, but they gave us a good game.
Played Tech tight this week.
Played Tech tight. They had Rocky beat. Rocky's the only team that's only one loss, so everybody's got a loss. So the conference champion this year, my guess is going to have 2 or 3 losses. So. Again, that's part of the challenge, though. I think Bill Walsh used to talk about true competition. So you don't really have true competition until you got 2 really evenly matched teams.
Yeah.
In other words, anybody can win. Yep. Anybody can take advantage of anybody. And that's the way the Frontier Conference feels. Sometimes I wish we could play somebody that wasn't that good.
Yeah.
That we could roll over. But really, when I step back and as we approach the games, I love our routine, because we try to put the previous week to bed on Sundays, and then we get right into on Sunday night and Monday morning we're moving, and there's a certain process that we go through. Maybe we can talk about that sometime in more detail. But there's a lot that goes into preparing a football team and getting ready on offense and defense and special teams. So, and back to the conference, the coaching I think has just gotten better and better and better, and I think partly because of the addition of Southern, Eastern, and us, and we were able to win fairly soon coming in because of the quality of the coaches and the players and the guys and their buy-in. But again, I believe in coaching at the highest level. I think if you have low expectations for your players, you're going to get low results. If you have high expectations and really appeal to the best in the players, their best intelligence, their best selves, can't overdo it, putting too much stuff on them.
Yep.
But you still want them to know why they do it, what to do, why they do it, and how it all fits together. You know, so it's football, in my opinion, is the ultimate team game. You need 11 dudes at a time, really, really playing at a high level, trusting each other, you know, complimenting each other, working together, double team, you know, anyway, so it goes on, and that is absolutely necessary in the Frontier Conference. Carrol College, they could beat anybody in the country. Montana Tech, 2 and 3, they could beat anybody in the conference, maybe anybody in the country. They got a great quarterback, we'll talk about them later, but they are really, really good. And it's weekend with Southern Oregon, you know, squashed, you know, Eastern Oregon this past week.
And they struggled early, and now they're kind of hitting their stride, right?
Their stride. Rocky Mountain, you know, beat Montana Western, who everybody thought might be the most senior-laden, complete team. So, you know, there's Rocky, there's Western, there's Eastern, there's Southern now's playing good. Tech, us, you know, Carroll. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty awesome. I mean, if you step back, so really want the fans to know, there is great football being played on Saturdays at Simplot Stadium. So really appreciate the crowd that was out for the Carroll game.
Absolutely.
And we need to win at home. That's a big deal for us because the fans are a part of this whole operation too, and it's the community's team, and I believe wholeheartedly in that. The guys believe in that, and so they're disappointing for the community's sake too.
Yeah, and because that is the standard here. I mean, we talk about it as a team. The standard here is we obviously have this amazing fan base, selling the most amount of tickets in the league every year, and we got to protect this place and win at home. We have this incredible home atmosphere, and that is the standard in the program, to win every game at home and, you know, put a product on the field that the community's proud of. So I know, you know, that can be difficult, but you're going to have a couple more opportunities this season. You know?
Absolutely. The sport's great. Yeah, Western. So we play Tech, have a bye, and then Western comes in, and then Eastern comes to town. So these are great football teams.
Yeah.
Great programs and fun. But also on that, the fans and the support, it's just so good. And I just love, and that's part of being a coach and being in football, which I've been fortunate to be in for many years, and I still love it and love everything about it. And sometimes you get criticized, and fans got new ideas, and that's their prerogative, doggone it. I believe, hey, you have something, want to talk about it, talk to your friends, come to the game, you know, tailgate, be there, participate. I think that's all good. And then when things, and that's why it's magic, when everything works together, and you pull out a game, like that Carroll game, which we were very close to eking out.
And speaking on the fans, just so you guys know what it means to the play, that is the best part about being a Yotes football player, is the fans here. Period. I mean, we got great facilities for this level, great gear and uniforms, all that stuff, right? But the two best things about being a player at the C of I is this amazing crowd and this community that comes out and supports better than any other school, and playing in the Frontier Conference like we just talked about, right? You play great competition against great teams every single week, and we get to play in front of an amazing home crowd. And so that's just a testament to you guys since the reinception of the program and the way that the community showed up for you guys.
And please, if you've never done this too, especially when we win now, is come down on the field after the game, because there's an assortment of alumni, families, and that may be my favorite thing on the face of the earth. Favorite thing on the face of the earth. And to see some of the old guys back who played for us fairly recently was really a treat. So anyway, hats off to the fans and the community. It really is spectacular here, and we're going to win at home.
Hell yeah. The one thing I want to touch on before we go into the Tech game and put the Carrol to bed, and this isn't even about the game, but you kind of spoke about the alumni. You know, talk about what it means to have all those guys come back around the program, And now that you have been here a while, and there's starting to be a couple generations of Yote players, what are the feelings you get as a head coach now, getting to take a step back and go, wow, we've kind of started to build this thing, and we got a bunch of alumni in the beer garden over there, and so just what emotions get brought up in you when you see that?
Well, I think it was maybe 2 years into this, 2014 or 2015, where I realized we don't have any alumni.
Yeah.
Or there's 35 years worth of alumni that don't exist. And it's the old guard, Buzz Bonaminio and Dave McEnany and so many.
Mr.
Joe
Forrest
Glazier
and
and Mr. Forrest, yes, absolutely, have been so supportive, and that's amazing. And they've been supportive financially and in every way. But the real lifeblood of the program is the new alumni or the young alumni, because they're the ones that have to keep it going. They'll be part of the program and the lifeblood of the program long after I'm gone. So my goal when I got here was not just for a few years or 10 years but multiple decades, maybe 100 years. I mean, so to think about that is kind of a cool thing, isn't it, as a player? So we talk about that all the time, how satisfying it is to build something. But the alumni, I'll say this in a nutshell, are everything to me. Everything. So I'm so proud of you and your contemporaries, and seeing all those guys there, all of them very, very successful, professional people, very successful in their careers, starting to get married and start families. So it's just exciting because you see the real fruits of your labor.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously
exactly.
you want to win and all that, but
There's
to
more
see those
important
guys,
things.
yes, absolutely. Well, the long-term things, Yote forever and all that, but just want the guys to be so proud of what they've done. And so I love that. I want them to be proud of the college. I want them to feel like they made the college a better place. And the football program is a small part of all that, but it really does glue them back, keeps them involved in. But I love talking to the guys. I can't get enough of, and you know this, but and a number of others. But I spend a significant amount of my time writing letters and connecting people, and we should say something about the quarterback club at some time. So that's kind of your vision a little bit, and others to mentoring and seeing guys get help, and you've been able to help some guys get some really, really good jobs. And again, I'm interested in people being successful. And so it really, really fires me up to see the young alums very, very successful in their new endeavors.
Absolutely. And just speaking from the young alumni perspective over the last few years, I mean, heck, it's been as exciting as it was to be a player. And there was certainly some times, especially like I said, our senior year, where we got some big W's, and beating Southern at home in double overtime, and there was some great moments for sure. But hell, I mean, we're just as excited, or maybe more excited, just being able to watch the trajectory of the program and coming out to St. Paul Field, seeing a great product out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, we couldn't be more proud of the program.
Right.
So,
And it all fits together. I guess that's it. So that's my next. What I think about all the time is, because that's something special. I think it's something special. That's the goal, is to make something special, and I think we have it. And again, that's why it's important for the fans to, boy, you see a Yote football player, take them aside, ask them some questions. We have great people, great football players, great students. I mean, these guys are gonna kill it in the world, and that excites me.
Awesome. All right, Coach, so, Carrol game's to bed. Everything's still in front of you guys, obviously a couple tough losses, but just like we talked about the Frontier, people are going to beat each other up a little bit. You go on a run here, and everything can still be in front of you guys, right? So that run that you're hoping to go on starts this week at Montana Tech. We'll get into, the X's and O's or the key players for Tech, but first, talk about playing a game at Bob Green Field. I've always felt like besides C of I, maybe the next best atmosphere in the Frontier Conference. Always a fun, the fans are rowdy there, and cool stadium, and so just talk about playing on the road at Tech.
Yeah, it's great. It's a tough trip, and We haven't won many times in that stadium. I think one time.
Two. And the one with Darius in 2018 when you guys were on the run, where you guys beat him in overtime, I think, with that little keep that he had. And then 2019, you guys got him up there in the second game, 28-7.
Oh, yeah. We played him twice. Okay.
But maybe 2-5 all time or something.
And then so we played him again, and that was the game in 19 where Kyle made a long field goal. So again, these are close games.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they were a 6-5 team in 19. I could be wrong on that, but they're just good, and they're tough at home, and they got just some big athletic guys. And then this year they have some real speed too. So they are just very well coached. They lost their head coach, but the coordinators are still back there. Their former head coach Chuck Morrell is at Fresno State.
Okay.
As the linebackers coach.
So, a lot of respect for him. I mean, he ran a hell of a defense
and
up
he
there.
was one of my favorite coaches in the conference, and but they're still doing great things, and they still have the seeds of his defense, and the offensively, Kyle Sampson is doing a great job up there. So they're just tough. They're just tough, and they take it to you, and it's a physical game, and you got to be on your game, and you know it's going to be a lowish scoring affair. So we need to find a way to score some points to change things up. But they got a very experienced quarterback. They got a great running back, big O-line, always big on the defensive line too, and
quarterback's still the tall kid that transferred from receiver a few years ago.
Campbell.
Jet
Campbell is his name, so he's very good. And then they got a transfer from Montana State who's a legitimate 4-4 guy, Estes, who returns kicks, and so special teams will be a big deal. Can we keep him at bay there? So it's just again another classic game. We're 3-2 now, they're 2-3, but this could be two of the conference champions, at the end of the year. So I think that much of the Tech program, not the easiest trip, but I think we've traveled better there in the past. We've figured out how to do it a little bit better, and it'll be a great day. Butte on Saturday, but it's tough. And you said they got great fans too, great tailgating situation, and so. Maybe there's a few people in Caldwell who want to join us
head up there.
I think it'll be a great game.
It's a fun atmosphere, and I think one thing that's good is their fans will rib the players quite a bit. Their student section gets rowdy out there, but that adds to the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the stuff that as a player you want that, right? You want to go on the road and feel like, all right, it's us against the world right now, and I think Tech provides that a little bit. So
and that matters, and we need that. Sometimes it's it helps you grow as a team when you go on the road, and that us against the world kind of mindset is important. So that certainly will be our attitude this week.
So I know we did talk about it last week, I believe, and always, as anything in football, when you're talking about things inside the lines, there's layers, right? There's complexities, and so it's not always one thing, but. What do you feel like you guys need to do this week? Maybe if it's just one thing that you'd like to see better once we get that ball inside the 25, because you guys, for all intents and purposes, have really moved the ball up and down the field for the most part all season, every game. But don't know where you rank in scoring, but probably middle of the pack or so.
Right.
But maybe up there in yardage. So what's got to change this week, do you think, on the red zone?
Well, let's just keep it going. Obviously, people pay attention to, we were talking about Boise State earlier, who's a very good red zone defense, and so people concentrate on that. It's one of those situations that's very, very difficult. People are doing creative stuff, and we just haven't been quite good enough. And then we've been, I think I mentioned last week that we were snake bit, got a penalty that was hard to detect. But we've turned it over a couple of times. We've missed a couple of kicks. So got to find a way to make a kick. But really it's get in the end zone. And we've been very efficient inside the 4-yard line. So if we get all the way down there, so we like what we're doing there, which typically is a tough part of the field. And but we have to, we're studying, we're working hard every week, try to find our best and safest and good plays, and we need to hit some 20-yard passes, to be honest with you.
And just so the fans
get the ball in the end zone.
And just so the fans know, and I think it can be obvious, but it gets a lot tougher when you get down there. When the field starts to get condensed and the defense doesn't have a lot of, they don't have to guard very much field. DBs are now not worried about getting beat deep. So we're going to play up a little bit. We're going to be aggressive, and it just makes everything harder offensively, right? So you really need all 11 guys on the same page. And then, sometimes it can come down to, hey, we got to beat our man in front of us and just make a play, right? So anyway.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's exactly right. So again, we're always evaluating our plans. That's some of what we do, and we'll start on that even tonight with our red zone package, and it's it matters. You have to have plays that you can't just make up a bunch of new plays, because you have to have plays that guys feel confident in.
And you can rep
But yes, and you have repped, meaning you can really execute it, feel good that you can execute it at a high level. But you also need to be creative too. So there's a balance there. You want to get creative, but you also want to do things that are familiar and where we just have to out execute and give guys a chance to make plays. And so that's the tension. That's the trade-off, and it's disappointing because we've been very, very good in the red zone over the last number of years. But maybe that says something about having Darius Peterson, where he's so dynamic that he can find ways, and he had a knack for throwing the ball in the corners and over the top. So we'll get there. I'm confident. We've had great work. I think we're better in the red zone. We've had great plans the last 3 weeks, and sometimes football's like this, where you can't. Stuff happens.
It's not linear.
Yes, exactly. So that's what you were talking about, the layers. There's a lot to it, but again, another challenge, and I like where we are. I like our plan so far going in this week. And
so what do you think are a few keys to beating Tech on the road this week for the Yotes?
Well, for sure,
or defensively?
we have to score touchdowns when we get in the red zone.
Yep.
So that is something, and we have to be able to run the ball inside, and we have to be able to throw the ball inside. So that's really our goal. Moving the ball between the 20s is important and great, but we have to find a way to finish down there. So again, it's finding our matchups, understanding our opponent, all those things, and again, we do that every week, but it's and I don't think it's I feel like we have to be careful not to put undue pressure on ourselves. The game's hard enough as it is, so it's a new week, new day, and we are confident that we've had good plans, and we just need to execute now.
Absolutely.
But we always have to. We're committed to running the ball and finding a way to do that. And Nick Calzaretti's having a great year. Hunter Gilbert is doing some great things, as we mentioned, punt return, but also he's a dynamic running back. So we have the weapons. It's a matter of utilizing all those too. So and it's one of those great mysteries sometimes why things don't come together or how they do. But we are determined.
But they can change in a week.
Absolutely.
They can change in a week. I mean, you can find
and they'll
need
to. They need to, or we'll be in trouble against Montana Tech. We need to get the ball in the end zone. And so the last couple of weeks we've scored quick, and we kind of need to take a drive.
Yeah.
In the first quarter.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with scoring quick too.
Yeah.
But we need to drive the ball and get it all the way down and get it in and build our team's confidence. So I think that's part of my goal as a head coach is how can I help our offensive staff and offensive team develop confidence. And some of that is back to basics and fundamentals, which we've done at certain pivotal points in a couple of the seasons early on, where players meetings and just owning up and having higher expectations for ourselves. Sometimes things as simple and as general as that matter, and really knowing the game plan, why we're doing what we're doing is and that is a fun challenge.
Yes,
and there's no easy answer.
Nope.
You ask tough questions, Broch.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm here for. All right, Coach. So one position group you haven't had a chance to really highlight yet this year, although from the fans' perspective, and certainly mine, I feel like you're getting pretty good production out of. Got a lot of good players getting pushed in the run game, even when people are stacking the box on you. So just get a chance to talk about that O-line, highlight some guys, and what you've seen from them.
I think it really is a strength of the team, and it's an emerging strength, which could, I wouldn't say we're dominant right now, but there's a chance that we may be in the near future. Braden Bale is the center. He holds it all together. Rocky Mountain High School. So a bunch of these guys are local guys, which is very, very satisfying.
Fun.
Yes. And our left tackle is Garrett Rayberg from Bishop Kelly, and he's a big-time talent, coming off an injury but playing great. He can match up with anybody in the conference and do great. So Garrett and Braden really kind of hold it all together.
Leaders of the group.
And Garrett is so steady, and Braden is very, very different from Garrett, but similar in that steadiness, which is important. You know, there's just so much stuff that happens on the O-line. You know, whether it's blitzes and having to pick things up in the run game or whatever it is.
Besides the quarterback, probably most complex in the offense.
Right.
And tight ends. But tight ends, O-line kind of going together a little bit. But
yes,
certainly
absolutely.
tougher probably than for them than it is for the receivers and the running backs from the mental perspective.
Yes, and then the other part is how they have to communicate together. So that's where Braden is the main guy. You know? So he's got to communicate literally every single play. Defenses have gotten so good in the Frontier Conference; they're shifting fronts and stuff. So we got to make adjustments almost, maybe sometimes 2 or 3 times every play. But then the other guys I want to mention: Ryan Halford from Mountain View High School, Camille Massad from Mountain View High School. They're on the right side and doing a great job. Ryan's kind of moved around from guard to tackle and is doing a really, really good job at tackle. Camille has played well at guard, and he shares time with a young man from Washington, Nathan Metz. Second-year guy, great guy.
Who I heard has got a motor.
Full of life,
Yeah.
And then Tyler Barron starts at left guard for us from Meridian High School. And those guys love to play. They work hard at practice, which I like. And the offensive line is just a critical unit for the chemistry of the whole team. I mean, they're notorious for being a close-knit, salt of the earth, lot of characters, you know, that sort of thing. So this group is no different. They have a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of personality.
And they're fun to be around. And but they work hard. And because of that work and that communication and extra stuff they have to do, and just the nature of practice, sometimes they're just off in the corner doing their thing, you know, getting ready. It really draws them tightly and uniquely together. And I think we have a good thing going there. I really do. And they are playing quite well. We haven't been sacked a bunch. Some.
That's going to happen to a degree.
But we're running the ball. We thrive on being able to run and throw. So what we put on them, pass protection wise, and in the run game is a lot. And they are they love it. They love the responsibility.
Yeah. So new O-line coach Greg Stewart comes in.
Yep.
Talk about what he's done for the program and just for that group specifically. Obviously.
Well, Greg is so good. He's a great communicator himself, great recruiter. He's been here a very short time and had a big impact on the program. But what he demands is great communication between those guys. So an understanding of what they're doing. So he's very call oriented. So. But then there's a blend between making calls for all these little adjustments and then just having automatic things that you do in response to what the defense is doing. So again, he fits that balance very, very good. He's an excellent teacher. He keeps it fun, and yet what I like too is, as a coach, sometimes there's a fun component, but then there's also a grinding component too, where you have a limited amount of minutes in the week to get guys ready for certain things and for a real high level contest. So you can't be messing around. So it's a fine line to balance between, hey, have a couple laughs, have a good time, you know, and then the working hard. So these guys get down to business, and then I believe you can work really hard and still have a great time out there.
Absolutely.
So I think that's all part of it. And what I want to create in the whole environment, it kind of starts with the O-line. So because some people would say, man, I could never be an offensive lineman. I'd want that ball in my hand or whatever. And that's my quarterback coming out in me. But the best thing I ever did was coach the offensive line for 10 years at UC Davis. I learned more football from those guys that I coached in those 10 years. I was a horrendous offensive line coach when I started out, but I learned a lot and got better and learned a lot about the game and football and how important the offensive line coaches and how offensive linemen need to work in a different way than most other positions.
And just, you know, besides maybe quarterback, maybe the most important position on your team, because if you are great at that position, you can be less great at receiver or running back or what have you and still have an extremely productive offense that's hard to stop. But you can have world beaters on the edges, and if you're not good up front, a lot of that gets kind of canceled out.
So it's tough on the quarterback, it's tough on the
Mm-hmm.
tough on the run game, tough to be consistent and all that. So I think you're right. We need to be consistent and efficient and all those things. We've talked about the red zone and stuff like that, but it does really all start.
It's
right
kind of
there.
how Wisconsin and Notre Dame have built their programs.
Absolutely.
Which is, if we want to be good on a consistent basis at a program like this, we better be great on the offensive
Right.
line. And if we are, we're going to have a chance to win games.
Yeah, and what I wanted to say is, we're not a dominant offensive
Yeah.
line, and I don't think we ever have been.
Mhm.
But I think we're close.
Mhm.
I think we're moving in that direction. That's how good it's been.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing to do as you look at again the teams in the Frontier Conference. It's tough sledding, and so there's a lot on these guys. So I couldn't be more proud of them. I'm really really excited about that group.
Absolutely. So, all right, fans. Well, thanks for tuning in this week. Everything, like I said, everything's still in front of this team. Still plenty of opportunities to win the league. There's been plenty of 2-loss teams that have won this league and even gone on to make runs in the playoffs. I think about a 2016 Eastern team that lost a couple conference games and then make it all the way to the national semifinals, right? And are in a position probably should have won that game and been in the national championship. And so still everything in front of these guys. Let's keep tuning in. Like I said, this week at Montana Tech. So tune into the stream. Any closing thoughts before you guys head to Butte?
Yeah, just really really appreciate the people that watch and contribute, and you're part of it, and I really like the team. I really do. I just want people to know that I'm not discouraged in the least. It happens. We've lost 2 close games that we coulda, shoulda, woulda,
Whatever.
and that happens, and now it's up for us to respond. But really really appreciate the support and the crowd Saturday. It would have been an all-timer if we could have hung on.
Yeah, well, and this is a great football team. And just from a former player's perspective and watching the film, this team has truly conference championship potential, and I think everybody in the fans can probably see that. A lot of great players out there. So we'll see you tuned in this week, on the stream for this Saturday in Butte, and we appreciate you. We'll see you on the Steel Show next week. Thanks.
Thanks.